If you are in your own dark night right now, you will feel something shift as you listen to this. Not the shift of someone telling you it will be okay, the shift of someone who knows. Because I have been where you are, not briefly and not in passing. I lived in the dark night of the soul for over 20 years. 20 years in the basement of consciousness, in the frequencies of shame and grief and apathy and fear, in illness that wouldn't lift, in loss that kept coming, in the kind of darkness where you stop being sure there is anything on the other side of it. And I want to tell you what I now understand about all of it. It was not happening to me, it was preparing me. I want to describe the shape of it, not to dwell in it, but so you understand the terrain I am speaking from. There was a point in my life when everything I had built collapsed. A career I had pursued with everything I had gone. A home gone. Financial security gone. The identity I had constructed around who I was and where I was going dissolved completely. And into that collapse came illness, years of physical suffering, chronic, relentless, daily, in a body that seemed to be fighting itself from the inside. For 2 decades, I did not have a good night's sleep. The physical symptoms were severe and unrelenting. There were relationships that pulled me back into the lowest frequencies, into shame at 20 hertz, into grief, into an apathy so complete that for a time I lost the will to keep going. I looked in the mirror once and barely recognized myself. I had been so diminished by illness, by loss, by negative emotions, by the weight of it all, that the person looking back at me felt like a complete stranger. And in that moment, one of the darkest I have ever known, something very quiet and very certain spoke from somewhere deep inside. Keep going. Not because everything was about to get better, but because there was purpose to this. Something I was being asked to understand from the inside, something I could not guide others through if I had not walked every step of it myself. In the work I share through these videos, I use Dr. David Hawkins' Map of Consciousness to describe the emotional frequencies. Looking back, I can map my own dark night with precision. For years, I lived at shame at 20, the basement of human consciousness, the frequency of fundamental unworthiness, absorbed so early in my life that I did not know it was there. I simply believed it was who I was. Above it, grief at 75, the ache of everything lost, of everything that should have been different, everything that came and was taken. And apathy at 50, the grey place, the depletion that comes when the system has been carrying too much for too long without relief. This was my daily frequency for many years, not occasionally, not in difficult patches, as the ground I stood on. I did not know while I was in it that these were frequencies. I did not know they could be named, mapped, understood, cleared even. I only knew the weight of them and the relentless, exhausting, sometimes desperate effort to find my way toward something lighter. The shift did not happen overnight. It happened through 40 years of deep, committed, relentless healing work, through searching under every stone, through trying every approach that offered genuine depth, through a determination I can only describe as ruthless, a decision that I would not stay in the basement of consciousness if there was any possible way through it. I stopped drinking alcohol. I took my physical health with absolute seriousness. I began to understand my body as an energy system, not just a physical one. I set boundaries where I had never set them before. I stopped allowing relationships and dynamics that kept me in the low frequencies, however familiar, however much they felt like home. And slowly, layer by layer and year by year, something began to change. There was a point, a quiet interior click, where I felt my core frequency begin to shift at last, where the shame that had been the ground I stood on began to have gaps in it, where the grief began to move rather than pull, where the apathy gave way slowly to something more alive. And as the frequency shifted, the body began to respond. The autoimmune disorder that had woken me every night for 20 years began to diminish. The body, which had been speaking the language of uncleared density in the only way it knew, began to quieten. As I aligned more fully with my spiritual calling, the healing accelerated. I want to speak directly to something that I have come to understand about my own dark night. It lasted as long as it did for a reason. Not because I was doing something wrong, and not because healing was not available to me, but because the work I was being prepared to do in the world required a depth of understanding that could only come from living it. I could not have created HART from a textbook. I could not have built a process for clearing shame if I had not lived for decades at shame's frequency. I could not guide someone through the grey place of apathy if I had not spent years there myself. I am the light because I carry the wisdom of the deepest darkness. This is not a metaphor. Every year in the basement of consciousness was a year of learning the terrain I now guide others through. Every moment of wanting to give up and choosing instead to keep going gave me the authority to sit with someone in their darkest moment and say with complete honesty, I know this place. I have been here, and there is a way through. Now, before I speak about the collective and about HART, I want to give you something practical. Because if you are in the dark night right now and you need more than understanding, you need something you can actually do today. Here are 4 things that genuinely help me and that I offer to anyone moving through this. So, number 1, name what you are feeling. Don't fight it. The instinct in the dark night is to resist, to think your way out, to push through, to tell yourself you shouldn't feel this way. But resistance increases density. The first genuinely helpful act is simply to name what is present, honestly, without judgment. I am in grief. I am in apathy. I am in fear. Not to wallow, not to make it permanent, but because naming brings consciousness to the feeling, and consciousness is the beginning of movement. Even saying out loud, I am in the dark night and it is real, is an act of self-compassion that costs nothing and shifts something. You cannot clear what you will not acknowledge. Name it. That is enough for today. Number 2, protect your frequency ruthlessly. In the dark night, the nervous system is already depleted. Every source of low frequency input makes the weight heavier. The news, social media, alcohol, conversations that drain you, relationships that pull you back into that basement I spoke about. I'm not saying avoid all difficulty forever. I am saying right now, in the dark night, be ruthless about what you allow into your energy field. One practical act. Identify one thing you are consuming, one input that is feeding the density rather than lifting it, and remove it just for today. Small acts of frequency hygiene are cumulative. They matter more than they seem to. And number 3, look for the thread, not the light. People in the dark night are often told to look for the light. That can feel impossible. And when the impossibly remote is offered as comfort, it makes the darkness feel heavier, not lighter. So instead, look for the thread, the small thing that still holds a trace of meaning, the activity, the walk, the moment, the person that still carries even a faint warmth. That thread does not need to be significant. It does not need to be spiritual. It just needs to be real. Hold it. Not because it will carry you out of the dark night on its own, but because having something to hold means you are still connected, still here, still moving, even when the movement is invisible. For today, the thread is enough. Number 4, meet spirit halfway and mean it. Now, this one took me years to understand, and I want to say it plainly because it matters so much. I knew somewhere inside that spirit was available to me, that healing was possible, that there was a way through. But for a long time I wasn't fully ready to meet it halfway, because meeting it halfway meant giving up the small comforts I was still holding on to. The wine that took the edge off the evening, that glass of Prosecco, the coffee that got me through the day, the sugar that offered moments of sweetness in a life that felt sour and very hard. Small things I told myself they were small things, but they were keeping me in the low frequencies. They were ways I was still choosing the relief of desire at 125 on the scale over the deeper clearing my body and soul were asking for. The day I truly decided to honor my body, not as a discipline and not as self-punishment, but as a genuine act of respect for the system I live in, something shifted and the healing came. I stopped drinking alcohol. I stopped the daily caffeine. I cleaned up my food, not perfectly and not all at once, but with a seriousness I had not brought to it before. No shortcuts, no negotiations with myself, and my body began to respond in ways it had not responded to anything else I had tried. Because the body is an energy system, and what we put into it either raises the frequency or lowers it. You cannot ask your body to ascend in consciousness while consistently feeding it things that pull it down. Meeting spirit halfway means taking your physical vessel seriously, not as punishment, as reverence. If there is one thing you are still holding on to that you know in the quiet, honest part of yourself is keeping your frequency low, you already know what it is. This is the one to look at. The Heart Awakening Revolution therapy is what my dark night built. Not what I invented after it, but what was forged through it. 7 years of development, 40 years of personal healing, and 2 decades of clinical practice, and a download from Spirit received piece by piece with a precision and clarity that I knew was not entirely mine. Heart works directly with the superconscious, the infinite, undamaged intelligence within every person, and it knows exactly where the density is held and what is needed to release it. It does not require years of talking about the darkness. It works at the energetic level where the density actually lives and creates the conditions for genuine, lasting frequency shift. This is the work I was put here to do because I needed to understand the darkness completely, intimately from the inside before I could build a reliable way through it for others. If you are in your dark night right now, I want to say something to you that I mean with everything I have. Your dark night is not a punishment. It is not evidence that you are failing in your spiritual journey, and it is not a sign that healing is not available to you. It is an initiation, and initiations have a purpose, and I do not know how long yours will last, and I will not make you that promise because I honor you too much to offer false comfort. What I will tell you is this: the depth of the darkness you are in is proportional to the depth of the light you are being prepared to carry. You are not lost. You are in the labyrinth, and the labyrinth always has a center. I found mine after many, many years, and I built HART so that the path to yours does not have to take as long as mine did. The 4 tips I offer today: name it, protect your frequency, find the thread, and meet spirit halfway are the things you can do right now, today, on your own. And when you are ready to go deeper, to clear the density at the root with my support, the link to work with me is in the description below. And if this video has reached you in a very, very real way, please share it. The person in the dark night does not always know how to find the light. You may be further ahead than them, and sometimes someone who loves them has to bring it to them. With all my love, and thank you for being here.